Okay, guys, so take two of all about fonts. So hopefully this one works and my sound is good. So today we're going to learn about fonts, how to use quick font, how to use how to digitize a font in the font manager, and then also how to digitize fonts in the digitizing modules. So what I've done is I've just opened up my embroidery software. So we are just on mySewnet embroidery and we are on the letter tab. Once we're on the letter tab, oh wait, hold on, forgot about a part. So the font I'm using today is called The Sewing, and I pulled it off of Creative Fabrica. I don't really know how to say that. Anyway, it's a website and it's like $1.60. You can use any font you want for this, but the font that I used is called The Sewing. Okay, so we're going to go to the font manager. And in the font manager, we're going to choose quick font. Okay, so I already have The Sewing in my little font choice, but what you would do is you would just click on here, choose the font that you wanted. I'm doing The Sewing. Style is going to be regular. There's bold, italic, but we are going to do regular. You want for using in the mySewnet embroidery system, not for using on the embroidery machine. And character set, we're going to leave as extended. There's super extended and some other choices, but extended is what we're going to do. And then we're going to hit next. So as you can see, this is by the stitch type. This is a pattern fill, and it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty good as a pattern fill, but the minimum size is 20 millimeters, which is fairly small. So I'm sorry, not fairly small, fairly large, and we want it to be smaller. So we do want to use that satin. That's going to give us a different look. However, when you choose satin, notice that it doesn't look very good. We are going to go ahead and click next just to, I'll go over some things. Stitch options, this is where you can tell it your density. And remember, these things are all changeable once you've created the font, so it doesn't really matter too much. You have a minimum and maximum size, joining point, baseline, nearest point, and continuous. Now, technically, this is a script, and you would normally use continuous. However, I find that I don't like the way they join when you choose continuous, so I don't normally do nearest point and then move them myself. Thread color is just that. You can choose your thread color. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And it generates. La, 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 la. Okay, so you have your font name. I have this font in my system, so I'm going to do The Sewing 2. Nearest point is where it's going to say. I'm going to change that to my fonts. I do recommend any fonts that you create, you do go ahead and put them in your fonts folder just so it makes it easier. Okay, and so you have this previous and next, and as you scroll through, you can see them. And some of them are okay, some of them are just trash. So this is not something that I would probably actually stitch out because it's using quick font. See, look how it just totally messes that one up. So I'm going to teach you another way to do this. We are going to go ahead and hit finish though, because we do need this font so I can show you some things that you can do. So it's saving the font, so it takes it a minute or two. Come on. So the cool thing, and the reason we're saving it, even though we're not going to use it, is because you can edit a digitized font. So we're going to go find The Sewing. Okay, and we're going to click on Edit Digitized Font. Okay, that's going to open up a new window and show you what the font looks like. Now notice that there is this is filled. It's not open where it should be open. So if you look on the left on your film strip, you'll notice that there are a ton of stitches. In order, and see how that's just crazy up in there. So this allows you to edit the font. So if you created a font and it was just just needed a little editing, you could easily come in here and do this and change it just enough so that it would stitch out better. However, this one up here is a mess, and there's really, I mean, you could spend the time fixing that, but I wouldn't bother because it's going to take you longer to fix it. It's also not exact, so you're messing with something that was better before, or not better before. You're not making it look identical to what it was. Okay, so let's say you were done editing the A. It's going to say modifications have been made. Do you want to save? Say yes. And then here's the B. And then once again, I'm going to zoom into this part right here. I know it's crazy. Edit points. Again, you're getting into just craziness in here. So you would have to sit here and try to figure out how to open this back up. Oh, it's starting to open back up. But this is a lot of work to sit here and try to edit this versus just creating it. And these angles are insane. Okay. So I was able to open that up, but it's still, this is not going to stitch out well at all. This is broken, that's broken. There are just multiple areas that have major issues. But like I said, this would work great if it was an easy font and you just needed to straighten up a line or something. So this is not going to work for this font. So at that moment, you're going to have to decide what you want to do. Do you want to scrap the font, or is this someone's logo font and you have to have this font? If that's the case, your next option is going to be to create a font. So on the right, we're going to click up here where the little A in the file folder, and we're going to click on that. And it says modifications, and I'm just going to say yes because I don't care. You can say no. Okay, so now we get to create or edit a font. We're going to create one. So we're going to choose font, create a new one, and notice that there is a super design set. You can actually create super designs in here as well. I will do a lesson on that later. Okay, we're going to create a new one. We're going to do the sewing. You guys can do the sewing 2, sewing 3, whatever you want to do. We're going to do nearest point. And we're going to change that minimum size to 10 millimeters. And then we're going to say okay. Okay, so now we have a blank canvas, but that's not the font we want. So we need to get the font that we want in. So, and remember guys, this is a graphic of the font, not actual stitching. We're going to add the stitching. So we're going to come up here on the right and we're going to click font background. It says the letter area must be created. Do you want to continue? Yes. Or okay. All right, now we're going to go get the font, which is the sewing. And I have a ton of fonts. The sewing. Okay, regular, perfect, scale is 100. We don't care about the horizontal offset or the vertical offset because I'm going to deal with that later. And say okay. All right, so there's our A. So the way we're doing this right now is literally you are going to digitize each and every letter. So you're going to do A, you're going to do B, you're going to do C. The thing is that this will allow you to type this in all the time. So if this was a font that you really loved and you were going to use this font a lot to type in all kinds of different things, this is where I would go to do this. If you just need someone's logo, this is not the way I would do it. In fact, the last part is where we're going to do that logo at. But if you need this font for a lot of things, this is the way to do it. So we're going to go through a couple of different ways. So quick create. Now we already know that pattern fill will work on quick fonts, so we're definitely out of that. Satin line. So if we were to just use a satin line, I'm going to come over here and fill area and line, and my width is 1.2, which is going to be good. Density is 3. 1.2, I know that it's that because this is a small letter, so I need a very small satin line. Okay, then I'm going to click on Quick Stitch for satin line, and I'm going to click in that blue area and watch what happens. Not very good. There is an actual double satin line because it's going on the outside of it. So we're going to go ahead and undo that because that did not work. Okay, then we have an option called Quick Stitch Satin. So we're going to click that and we're going to click on this. Ah, much better, right? Still not perfect. You still have this closed in. This right here is actually part of the underlay. So if you come into properties and you get rid of that underlay and say apply, it actually takes that line away. But it's still not good. We're going to go ahead and cancel. It's still not good, but you're thinking, oh, well, we could just, edit the points. Those are the points you'd have to edit. That is absolutely insane, and I am not going to sit there and edit those because it's going to take me way longer than doing it another way. All right, back to Quick Create. We're going to go ahead and hit undo. And undo again, apparently. Okay, Quick Stitch plus the hole. So let's see if we can't get that hole in there. So we're going to click that, and it won't do it at all. Okay, Quick Stitch multiple satin. Nope, did get that underlay thing gone, but nope, still doesn't look good. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and see, you can see where it has the two different areas. All right, so that it would not be the way I would want to do this one. Now this can work, but it's not going to be perfect. All right, so now we're going to, I never do freehand create, but I do point create. So we're going to undo this so it's gone. Okay, so satin lines. Let's try the satin line again. Only this time we're going to do create area or line and we're going to place points. So we're going to come in here and we're going to place points around the shape, the center, because we don't want the outside because this is just a satin line. And you'll see why here in a second. Okay, so there's my points, right click. Not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Now, one of the things is that I like about using satin line is that it allows the line width to be exact. So I use this when I'm doing a traditional font. So like a print font. So like if you have anything that's in print, then that makes it really good because it'll keep your line width equal. But for this, if you look at the letter, the line width isn't the same. So we need to make sure that we have that narrowing and widening of our line. So we're going to choose something called satin column. Now satin column allows you to put a satin line, but make it narrow and wider at different points. The way the satin column works is that you place points opposite each other. So I either do right, left, or left, right, and I chant that in my head the whole way because you don't want to get them crossed. Okay, so I'm going to just throw some dots in here pretty quickly. Oops, that was real bad. Oh, see, that's how did you see how it crossed? You don't want that. Okay, keep going. And like I said, I'm doing this really quickly because you can always edit it. Oops. Okay, then right click. Okay, so now it looks more like the original lettering. So let's go to view and let's go to object view. And you can see my lines on there. So home, and we're going to edit those points. So now you can come in here after quickly putting them in. I will tell you right now that I prefer laying my points in quickly and then editing them. I find that it's easier to edit than try to place them correctly the first time because no matter what, you're going to edit. So you might as well like save time and get it done pretty quickly. Okay, and I'm not going to make this perfect. Okay. Close enough, I think. And I mean, you can make this as perfect as you want it. Like I said, I'm just going to do it quickly. All right, so now we're going to go back to view and 3D view. Now I have this at the smallest size. So if I come up here to life view, oh, hold on. Cancel, satin column, properties, density, crank that down to 2. All right, apply. Now say okay. Now let's look at it. Ah, there we go. Much better. Right here, I'm not sure exactly what's going on right there. Or right there, for that matter. Maybe it's too narrow. Let's make it a little wider. What's weird is when I did this lesson the first time, when it had no audio, this worked out perfectly. Oops. Maybe this is the problem. All right, let's see now. There we go. So better. Again, you can always make it perfect and preview size. Let's crank that up. And that looks even better. A 10 on a satin with all these curves is pretty tiny, but okay. So say you got your A done and you're happy with it. I'm not happy with this. I would definitely be working on this a little bit more. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to choose B now. It's going to say modifications I've made. Yes. All right. Notice that the A now has a teal greenish color half triangle. That means that it has been digitized and it is done. So now we have our B. Same thing, point create, satin column, and you can come in here and just add your points once again. Whoa. Okay, so like I said, you would do this for every letter. Lowercase and uppercase. One by one, you would come in here and do this. Now, I do want to show you something on the B. And I just hit the delete key to make those go away. All right, the B. So you have different points. So when you are creating a font, you need to look at the font and think, what comes first? So you cannot do this all in one fell swoop because of this area right here. If you were to try to place your points so that they followed this angle, it would become very dense and would not stitch out the best, especially at a small size. So you would actually want to look at it and think, how would I stitch this out? Now, B, I would do this part and then this part. So I'll do that real quick. So you just place your points just like we did before. And I am on my desktop, so my mouse is not my normal mouse that I use. So if you are ever wondering what mouse or what you should use, and you are going to go inside of here just a little bit so it crosses over. If you're ever wondering what mouse to use to digitize, gaming mouses. Gamer mouses have controls where you can like tighten and loosen the way the mouse pointer goes. And so you can get more precise placement, whereas this is just the mouse that came with, this is really thin. This is the mouse that came with my computer, and so it's not really good. I normally have my gamer's mouse so that it's better. But yeah, and oops. So, oh my gosh, there we go. So yeah, I use a gamer mouse to digitize way better. I know some people like to use those tablet things. Not me. I do not do well with those. I think it's my hand-eye coordination or something. I'm much better with a mouse. Okay, good enough. All right, so there's the top of the B, and then we're going to do the bottom of the B. But anyway, a gamer's mouse is what I recommend, oops, for doing digitizing. They can get really expensive. Um, I don't have one of the most expensive ones, but I do have a pretty expensive one. I also have one that charges and can be wired. So it's wireless and wired because I'm terrible about batteries and charging things. So I did get that one and I absolutely love it, especially when I remember where the cord is. Okay, good enough. And there's our beat. So key notes to take away. This has to get locked under here so that when it stitches, this is not separated. When your fabric stitches, it pulls. And so if you don't have any overlap, you'll have a separation when it stitches. So you definitely want to make sure that you come inside here. And I'm about halfway inside of there. And that's what I recommend, about halfway. And you'll get differing opinions or whatever on that, but that's what I do. Okay, so there's our B. So then when we go to C, and it asks if you want to make yes, always say yes or it won't save it. And then your C comes up. And you just keep going throughout the alphabet, letter after letter. So if you had to do this because you really like this font and you needed them to do it that way, you can by all means leave some letters off. X, Z, Q. Any letters that you don't think that you would actually use, you could just leave off. And not in a digitize, you don't have to do the whole alphabet. But if you wanted to, this is the way you would do it. And there you go. So this is how to do it. All right, we're going to go ahead and close that. And it comes back to here. And it's going to automatically save it. So it was automatically saving it. So if we type in 3, there it is. And that would be our digitized fonts. All right, close. Okay, so that is a lot of work. That is a lot of work to do for an entire font, especially if you are doing this and you just need a specific section or a specific word. So the other way we're going to do it is we're going to go into the digitizing module. So mySewnet digitizing, and we're going to pull in the actual image, not of the word. So load picture, desktop, sewing. All right, so there it is, the sewing. That's going to be what we're going to digitize. So we're going to say next, and we're going to shrink this down. Oops, and kind of come in. Okay, and next. Now I'm gonna change the hoop, and I'm just gonna do rotated. I'm gonna leave this pretty big. Most logos are gonna be small, so you do have to take an account for that. Oh heck, why not? We'll just make it small. So I'm going to use the 80 by 80. Okay. All right, and then we're gonna say finish. All right, that's gonna put my word into my hoop. So now we're going to start the digitizing process. So I always zoom in on what I'm working on. I don't know how people digitize without zooming in. I just don't. Anyway, so we're going to go to point create. We don't care if this says satin line because that's not what we're going to use. Satin column is going to override anything over here. So we're going to choose satin column, and we're going to go over this. Or we're going to start this. So again, we have to always think about how the letter is written. So a T, normally this part is written, and then the cross. Oops. You're going to digitize that the exact same way. So we're going to digitize this part first. Oops. And like I said, I'm trying to do this pretty quickly because I understand that you don't want to sit here and watch me place points all day long. So quickly. Okay, right click. And then we're going to come in here and do this one. And remember, you can always edit points, which is how you make everything look perfect. Oops. There's that crossing thing you don't want to do. So let's say you do cross it. Let's get it crossed real quick. and then you get back on. Okay, so this is crossed. When you have to undo this, so you would basically make it like you're untying a knot, and you would just keep going until you crossed it. If you did it a whole bunch of times, probably just right click and oh, that's the other thing I haven't been telling you guys to do is right click to set the points. Oh gosh, oops. Well, oh well, if you've taken my lessons before, you know that. Sorry guys, some days. Okay, all right, pretty good. Okay, so there's our T. All right, so now we need to do the. So again, when you do an H, you normally kind of write it like this. However, again, you can't, it messes it up if you like do this part right here and you don't do it two pieces. So we're going to actually cross this part and do this first, then this, which, okay. So we're going to start somewhat inside. Oops. And we're going to place our points quickly, quickly, quickly. Okay, and I want to say the more drastic these, you don't want this line to be drastic. If it's drastic, it's going to stitch out weird. You want it close to parallel. You can have a slight angle, but you don't want a drastic angle, okay? Okay, and then the same thing goes here. You're going to come somewhat inside of the E. Okay, right click, there's that. And then this part is attached, so we're going to start here. And you just keep placing your points, and I've gotten really bad now. Whoops, and right click. Okay, so then you would just go on to your E starting here. Oh, so bad. Okay, and then there, okay? Like I said, you would definitely want this to look a lot better. All right, and then you just keep going. And this is how you would digitize a logo. Like someone had a specific font that they needed, or if you found something that you really liked and you wanted to copy it, this is the way you do it. I do recommend, if it is copied, do not sell it. I do have the commercial licensing for this font, so it's not against I'm not doing anything bad or wrong. Anyway, so that's how you do that. I did tell you that like doing so, and if you can see how small this is, it's 3/4 of an inch, so tall. So it is extremely small. Okay. But remember how I said the traditional font? So like if you wanted to do a traditional T, I chose satin line. And if you look at the line, you can tell when it's straight. Oops, delete. I would actually do this the other direction, but you get the point. So hold on. Okay, so this, and then see how you can move this so that your satin line is perfectly straight. That's how you would do a T. You would not use satin column to do a traditional or a print font. Satin line is going to be your best way because it's all equal. All right, guys, so that is basically how to do a font. And then, like I said, you can always come in here, oops, Home tab, Edit Points, and clean everything up. When you clean everything up, I just want to reiterate, when you clean everything up, you're going to go to View, Object View, and then Home, Edit Points. And your goal is to make these outside lines match. So you want them to be nice and equal and matched. And you can just go through and clean them all up until you are happy with the way it looks. Okay? All right, any questions you guys can ask either on YouTube. I will tell you that I am not as good at looking at comments on YouTube as I am on Stitching with Stephanie on Facebook. A lot of people get better luck with actually messaging me because, because I'm me. Anyway, so that's how you do it. Questions, comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. The other one was probably a bit better, but unfortunately it did not have volume. So I'm doing this one really quickly just so that I can get it done for you guys, because this was a class that I taught in person. But anyway, all right, guys, that's it for today. Stay tuned. I'm really trying to get back into doing videos, especially for the Mac. But life is busy and I'm a busy person. Sorry, guys. All right. See you next time. Bye.